The moment momentum lost its grip, it didn't snap, it didn't reverse. It simply stopped pulling forward, as if the force that had driven everything quietly let go. This story matters now because momentum is one of the most trusted illusions in markets. When it works, it feels permanent. When it fades, it rarely announces itself. To understand how a powerful trend can die without collapsing, we need to return to the moment momentum stopped convincing anyone to follow it. Momentum is not a mechanical force. It is a social agreement. It exists as long as enough participants believe that following it will be rewarded, that buying what has risen will continue to produce gains, that the trend will attract the additional participants needed to sustain it. When that belief is intact, momentum is self-fulfilling. When it begins to erode, momentum becomes self-defeating. Each failure to extend the trend reducing the confidence of those who would otherwise have followed it. It began after a long stretch of rewarded behavior. Buying strength worked. Holding positions paid off. Pullbacks felt like opportunities, not warnings. Momentum wasn't just a strategy. It was an expectation. The first reveal was subtle. Strong moves extended less than before. Gains stalled sooner. What once ran for days now struggled to survive hours. Traders noticed, but dismissed it as noise. Momentum doesn't disappear all at once. It erodes. Participation told the real story. Fewer buyers chased breakouts. Volume thinned on advances. Leadership narrowed. The market was still moving, but fewer were willing to push it. Inside institutions, conviction softened. Risk was still deployed, but with tighter exits. Momentum trades were treated as rentals, not investments. The assumption that someone else would carry the move forward began to weaken. The most telling sign was behavior during pullbacks. In the past, dips triggered urgency. Now, they triggered assessment. Buyers waited. Sellers tested. Momentum no longer commanded immediate response. This wasn't fear. It was skepticism. And skepticism is momentum's natural enemy. Because momentum relies on belief more than logic. It requires trust that others will act the same way tomorrow. Once that trust fades, momentum loses its grip, even if prices haven't fallen yet. The moment momentum lost its grip wasn't dramatic. It was quiet. And that quiet was already changing how every decision was being made. Because when momentum stops leading, the market must find something else to follow. And that search is never smooth. As momentum weakened, the market's rhythm changed. Moves still happened, but they required more effort. Breakouts demanded confirmation. Continuation trades stalled without follow-through. What once felt automatic now felt negotiated. The reveal deepened when leadership narrowed further. Fewer assets carried the trend. Others drifted or reversed quietly. The market wasn't unified anymore. Momentum had become selective. And selective momentum is fragile. The early conflict emerged in execution. Traders who chased strength found themselves late. Entries that once felt obvious now require precision. Timing replaced conviction. Momentum was no longer forgiving. Institutions adjusted cautiously. Exposure to momentum strategies was reduced incrementally. Capital rotated toward assets showing durability rather than speed. The market began rewarding stability over acceleration. Liquidity reflected the shift. Depth thinned during advances. Spreads widened slightly. Market makers became cautious, providing flow into strength. The system no longer assumed continuation was safe. The most dangerous signal was psychological. Participants stopped defending trends. They stopped arguing that momentum would return on its own. Doubt crept in quietly, without fear. Momentum trades began to feel crowded even as participation fell. That contradiction created tension. Too many positions depended on a force that fewer believed in. The market hadn't rejected momentum. It had questioned it. And once a market questions momentum, every extension becomes suspect. Because momentum survives on confidence, not speed. And confidence was already fading. The loss of grip wasn't visible yet, but it was already being felt. And what comes after momentum rarely looks like what came before. The tension peaked when momentum was finally tested under pressure. A modest pullback appeared. Nothing unusual, nothing alarming. In the past, it would have been bought instantly. This time it wasn't. The conflict intensified as hesitation spread. Buyers waited for confirmation. That never came. Sellers pressed slightly harder, sensing weakness rather than opportunity. The market slipped, not because of fear, but because momentum no longer inspired response. Stops triggered quietly. Algorithms adjusted automatically. What had once been a trend now behaved like a position looking for an exit. The difference mattered. Moves extended further than expected because fewer participants were willing to absorb them. Correlation rose as momentum faded. Assets that once diversified risk moved together as confidence withdrew. The system had relied on momentum to coordinate behavior. Without it, reaction synchronized offensively. Inside institutions, the realization settled in. Momentum had not reversed. It had expired. The force that once carried trades forward was gone. What remained was structure, liquidity, and willingness. And willingness was thin. Attempts to restart the trend failed quickly. Rallies were sold into. Strength invited reduction, not addition. The market wasn't collapsing. It was letting go. The buildup reached its most dangerous phase when participants stopped expecting momentum to save poor timing. Discipline replaced hope. Exits came faster. Entries shrank. Momentum had lost its grip completely, not with a crash, but with indifference. And indifference is fatal to any strategy that depends on belief. The market wasn't asking where momentum went. It was moving on without it. The climax arrived with acceptance rather than shock. The market finally stopped trying to revive momentum and allowed prices to find a new logic. Not faster, not higher, just more honest. What followed was repricing without drama. Positions dependent on continuation were unwound. Liquidity returned selectively, favoring structure over speed. The market didn't punish everyone equally. It punished assumption. The resolution unfolded as behavior reset. Traders stopped chasing strength. Investors demanded confirmation before commitment. Risk was sized for uncertainty instead of acceleration. Momentum was no longer the default engine. In hindsight, the signs had been clear. Momentum didn't fail suddenly. It weakened quietly as belief thinned. What looked like stability was actually withdrawal. What felt like patience was hesitation. Modern relevance is unavoidable. Markets still build narratives around momentum, still assume trends will carry forward, still underestimate how quickly belief can vanish when follow-through disappears. The lesson is simple, but uncomfortable. Momentum doesn't die when prices fall. It dies when people stop trusting it. And once trust is gone, momentum never returns the same way. It has to be rebuilt, one decision at a time. Subscribe to join the journey. The process of rebuilding momentum after it has expired is instructive because it reveals the underlying mechanics that make momentum possible in the first place. Momentum cannot be manufactured by declaration or by institutional intervention. It can only emerge organically from the repeated experience of commitment being rewarded. Each time a participant extends a trend and is rewarded for doing so, the confidence of other participants to do the same increases marginally. Enough of these small confirmations, accumulated over enough trades and sessions, begin to create the shared expectation of continuation that is the true engine of momentum. It is a collective learning process, one that must be rebuilt from its earliest steps after the old momentum has expired, because the learned expectations that sustain the previous trend are now liabilities rather than assets. This is why the period following the loss of momentum's grip is characterized by false starts. The market produces moves that look like the beginning of new trends, and some participants, drawing on the habits formed during the previous momentum regime, attempt to follow them. But those moves do not yet have the foundation of shared expectation beneath them. They are premature, individual instances of courage in a market that has not yet relearned how to confirm courage collectively. Each failed follow-through reinforces caution. Each stall breakout extends a period of skepticism. The rebuilding requires patience precisely because it cannot be rushed. And the market, now appropriately cautious after the experience of momentum's failure, is unwilling to grant patience freely. It has to be earned one confirmed move at a time. The